everyone, welcome to Crank It Up Podcast, the YouTube home of Brigham Games. I'm Jim Price, and today I want to introduce you to the Fairy class, which has just been added to the demo mod. The Fairies are unique for a number of reasons, but first and foremost, I did not design them, at least not by myself. The Fairies are the first community content class in Erudia because we wanted to send a message that we are serious about incorporating other people's ideas directly into the game, to give everyone a chance to be part of the design process and starting to do so in the core set. As great as the collaboration was, it's been even stronger on the next community content class, but those things are not the subject of today's video. Fairies are. If you are someone who enjoys designing or being creative, this video and this class is for you. The Fairies are also unique in that each Acolyte is dual ranked as another rank. They fit both criteria and can interact with a card that looks for those ranks. The Fairy game plan evolved into one of versatility, flexibility, and unpredictability, and they can certainly do a lot of things. They can help you or hurt your opponent, but by and large, your opponents choose the effect, so they have no one to blame but themselves. With all secondaries, we have to look at their Acolytes first, and Titania was the most commonly drafted. As one of the dual-ranked leaders, Titania gets all leader benefits, especially that one, but she creates a fascinating mind game. Since the Fairy cards largely have your rival choose the effect, Titania is designed to subtly manipulate your rival. Perhaps Titania wants to dissuade you from a particular ability, or maybe she wants to trick you into giving her a charge. Titania turns decisions into power and is always relevant even when you choose your own fate. In this instance, your rival is trying to guess what you won't do to avoid giving you a charge. But maybe, just maybe, the choice is ambivalent enough to the Fairy player that you can persuade them with the charge. Titania is a lot of fun because both players are constantly thinking about what the other would do, and guessing wrong can have consequences. Though Titania works with her own cards, I think she works best when it's their card and their choice, because you really get to anticipate what they will do and make them reconsider knowing you can get a benefit. Naturally, the draft runner-up is Oberon, her fellow dual-ranked leader. Unlike other Fairy cards, Oberon is good for you either way, but your rival chooses which good effect you get, and both are very strong. You can get any of the Fairy Fate actions, as well as those of your primary class, or the very powerful Pixie Dust, which I'll cover later. It's certainly not an easy choice, especially when Titania influences them. It's easier to discuss the other Acolytes in terms of the Fairy big plays, and as usual, I'll cover 3 of them. The first is that the Fairies have Pixie Dust, which has multiple uses and not just on the card itself. Pixie Dust is their focus item, which 2 Acolytes can interact with, and there aren't enough Pixie Dust to go around for all the things that they can do. Pixie Dust can move a modifier or return it. Sometimes a unique modifier can be moved in a very favorable way, such as moving Mount Up of the Cavalry to a rival unit, so now you can move them, because you still control Mount Up. If it's a battlefield modifier, especially one that gains charges, you may be better off returning it to their hand, because moving it may not matter as much. The second fate is more costly, as it turns another Pixie Dust into a unit, but at least it's shuffled into your deck, so you get another chance at it. This is a great way to burst for more units, and it's important to note that you get to choose. While your rival may expect Titania to constantly pick the modifier fate, as it seems less likely, don't discount it, as you can put yourself in a position for a surprise movement that is really impactful. The second big play also uses a Pixie Dust, and that's the Shea Mushroom, which allows you to search for your rival's treasury and steal any card there. The great part is that your rival doesn't know what you took unless you chose to play it immediately, which requires, you guessed it, a Pixie Dust. You don't need the Pixie Dust to search, just to play it now. With the Mushroom, what you draft becomes just as important as what you don't, because the Fairy player has access to an ever-increasing side deck of cards, and eventually, you won't even know what they have access to when the treasury evolves beyond its size limit. The final big play that I want to talk about covers 2 of their other Acolytes, Puck and Ariel. Puck offers your rival a choice. Either they must give you an item, and they cannot choose this unless they can complete it successfully, or you can play a recruit. Normally, this recruit would be 2 power, even though they can be really impactful. But the Fairies are dual ranked, and Ariel is one such recruit who can satisfy Puck's play condition. Ariel goes stronger based on the other ranks that there are, with a nice mix of abilities. Note that it doesn't matter who controls the unit, just that the rank is there. And for each of the fairies, they double count towards Ariel. For example, Puck would count as both an Acolyte and an Elite. Because it's really easy for an Acolyte to be there, Ariel almost always comes in for resistance. But you can swing morale in either direction, draw cards, which is always great, or even recur a Pixie Dust. Based on the multiple Pixie Dust usages, and I haven't even covered them all, recurring this item is very important, and Ariel does that and potentially so much more. I tend to love these types of cards that give you more depending on what you put in, and if your opponent is not careful, Puck and Ariel combine for a quick strike with many benefits. But to block this requires giving up what could be an impactful item. Speaking of items, we have to consider their treasury support. Obviously, with 2 additional leaders, including the chance to have 1 start in your hand, Blade of Erudia is a no-brainer. But the fairies are also well suited for the Bevian Glaive. They have both the means to increase their morale to play it, and a need for power from your advanced tactic. Some players have pointed out that you can sacrifice a fairy acolyte to get a fairy leader because they are aligned, and that's true, but they are also just acolytes you can search for. The Dowsing Rod is great for both Pixie Dust and the Mushroom, which effectively turns the Dowsing Rod into searching for any royal item, whatever is needed for the exact moment. The fairies are a great starting point for our community content initiative, and I can't wait for you to try them. They have a ton of extra plays and alternate plays, and really keep both players engaged in every turn. We are almost done wrapping up the next community content initiative class, so if this interests you, be sure to join our Discord so that you don't miss the next opportunity. Which of the fairies would you draft? And what do you think of their unexpected playstyle? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's shut it down.